this week's episode of Seraph of the End, The Battle in Nagoya, Gurren is soundly defeated by Crowley. You and his team must escape and make the ultimate decision. Should they save Gurren, or should they leave him behind? Spoiler warning if you haven't seen this week's episode, there's some pretty big events which go down this week. You might have actually died this episode, although we all know he's really not gonna die. He's the main character, he's got plot armor, he's going to be just fine. The problem is, Gurren just got captured, everybody else wants to escape, and Yu wants to save him, because he's the big macho hero. So he decides to pop a couple of pills, which causes him to go insane, start bleeding profusely, where he suddenly just dies out of nowhere. Come on guys, it's only a matter of time before he goes into his Super Saiyan Kurama mode. Or whatever the hell that weird black demon angel transformation thing was. Aside from the ending scene where Yu just seemingly dies out of nowhere, I think some of the more important scenes from this episode certainly involve the character of Kureto. They really get to show how strained his relationship is with his family, in particular his brother, Seishiro. If you guys ever watched the original Mobile Suit Gundam anime series, the whole Hiragi family kind of reminds me of the evil Zabi family from that series, where they're all sort of vying for power in this post-apocalyptic war setting. Suffice to say, Kureto is going to be one of the more interesting players in this arc as he's getting ready to prepare for a massive assault, and he will not let anyone get in his way. If they do, he'll have his cute assistant cut them up with a katana sword. There's also this really great flashback sequence with Gurren and Yu, which really establishes why their relationship is so interesting. Because in many ways, Gurren is kind of like this surrogate older brother to Yu. He was basically there just trying to let him know that, look, it's going to be really rough right now. You're going to have nightmares, you're just going to have to get over it, and even if you don't know what you want to live for, continue to live so that you can find what you want to live for. It's a very nice scene which definitely adds a nice layer of depth to these two characters, makes you appreciate them just a little bit more. Probably the most well done scene from this episode. But there's also some really cool action with Crowley and his assistants at the beginning who just completely waste everyone who gets in their way. There's that one guy who has the pipe who actually creates this like massive illusion which makes them look like they're like in the center of a volcano, but it doesn't really cause any damage or anything. It's basically just there for appearance sake and for his team to sort of sneak around, and I'm officially in love with the ninja member of the group. Unfortunately, they can't do anything, and they have to escape, leaving Gurren for dead there. Although he's probably still going to live, he's just going to go through a lot of crazy torture. At the end of the episode, after Yu gets done taking these pills and seemingly dies, Mika finally arrives with his squad, who he completely just destroys out of nowhere because, of course, he's on his own secret mission. So I cannot wait to see how all of these stories are going to converge on one another. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Seraph of the End? This was another pretty decent episode. Nothing too mind-blowing here, but it definitely had some really nice, tense elements to it. The action scene at the beginning of the episode was really cool, especially Crowley, the way he basically destroyed the illusion by just completely cutting off the entire top of half of the building. That looked pretty awesome. The only thing about this episode that I think just sort of cheapens everything is that they're trying to make us think that Yu is dead. It's definitely not going to happen whatsoever. They do a really good job of making it seem kind of believable, though, just from the reactions from the characters. In particular, Shinawa, her actual, like, animated reaction is very realistic, and she seems really, really shocked by what's going on here. Although we know it's only a matter of time before he transforms into his big evil monster form and starts kicking all sorts of ass, and hopefully that ass is going to belong to Crowley, and hopefully the animation will get a little better. I think the best animated episode of the second season was when they fought against that one top hat wearing vampire, Lukel Wesker. I think they really need to apply that type of style to the stuff that we see here, because even though this episode did look pretty good, it just really wasn't all that special, and that's really just sort of the entire tune that Seraph of the End is actually playing to. It's just sort of like a typical action anime that's not really trying to break the mold. But like the rest of the series, if you just kick back, relax, and don't think about it too much, it's still a pretty fun experience that you should see at least once. So I can't wait to see how they're going to wrap this up. There's only a couple of episodes to go. I'm kind of ready to actually see an ending for the series, because I'm sort of losing a little bit of interest in Seraph of the End, as it's not really going too many places and not really trying anything too bold. That being said, though, it's still a fun experience that, like I said, should be seen once if you like action, anime, and vampires. So this was still a pretty good episode right here. It's definitely a flawed episode, but I think it's one of the stronger ones from the season. Yet, at the same time, I still want more, and I think that you taking those pills and supposedly dying just on the spot right here kind of cheapens the episode a bit. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. We're really going to have to see what they're going to have to pull out for the rest of the series. Hopefully it's going to just go crazy from here. Otherwise, it's still just going to be another average, fun time with Seraph of the End. If you watched this week's episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you have a favorite character or action scene from this week's episode? Is you actually dead? Am I actually just not believing it? Am I in denial? I don't know. Maybe should I look at the manga spoilers? Come on, he's all over the freaking covers of the manga. He's totally alive. And what do you guys want to see from the rest of Seraph of the End? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it and share it with your friends. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as they are released. You guys can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!